actually, it'd be really interesting to hear why you have a hard time delegating.
I actually, I learned this in the beginning of running my agency. I think it was getting to a point where I built a business basically seeing flaws in somebody else's business. So I was doing consulting as a project manager, saw like, hey, this is not how I would do it, which is fine. It's not my business, but I can actually kind of extrapolate that, put it into my own kind of framework. And then, for me, it was the minute that I registered a business, Christine, in 2008 January, 2018 January, the next day I received a $30,000 contract for a job that I can only probably at that very moment be like, we can only get to 50% because we don't actually have a legitimate developer to get this done. We have the designer, we have everything else. But I was like, I will figure this out. I swear from that moment, it never stopped. It just kept going and going. So I never almost had time to like take a deep breath and be like, okay, I got to hire the right people. I got to, get all the right people in here to do the operations. I was doing everything. I was doing sales. I was doing marketing. I was doing project
Mhm.
management. I was doing client communication, like everything you could possibly think of. And when I had that sort of control, which is, and now that I look at it, is like a terrible thing, but I had that control. Things were most of the time, like 80% of the time, going really well. And 20% of the time that they were going really bad, I could just blame myself. I didn't have to go after people and be like, why the fuck did this not happen? Or why did we not do this? So I think for me, why I had a hard time letting go is because from the very beginning, I was doing everything and I was able to grow the company like literally in the first year to like 400,000, then like to 700,000. So it just kept going. And I think I was focused too much on sort of the numbers and like the clients I was doing. And then I was on those sales calls as well, right? So when a person talks to me, they're like, oh, I really want to work with you. I want to make sure you're on the project, not somebody else. And I'm like, okay, sure. Like, and I just give into that, right? Like, I'm like, yeah, sure, because I wanted to close that deal and I wanted to work with that person. So to me, there's, I think, a lot of different factors. And then I think in 2000, beginning of 2020 ish, maybe 20, yeah, 20 ish, I was just kind of like, guys, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It was one of those moments where the cap came off the bottle and was just like, you know what, guys, I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I guess my reasoning is, I don't know, maybe a little bit different, but it was just all of these things were just moving a little bit too quickly for me. Because in most cases, I think when people start a business, from day one, you don't get like a big contract. You don't start like having to hire people and all these other things. You kind of slowly build for the most part. And I think for me, it was just like, oh shit, this is now really happening. It's a little bit of a surprise, I guess, is the biggest
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. And now, what is that still the case for you for letting go now?
Not so much because I started trusting people more.
Okay.